put both hands on the table. Elias Grant lowered his coffee cup. Sheriff Wade Mercer stood at the end of the booth, blocking the aisle with one hand above his duty belt. Deputy Jonah Ellis waited half a step behind him. At the counter, Cora Bennett held a coffee pot over an empty mug and did not pour. Elias placed his palms beside the cybersecurity brief he had been reading. "What incident are you responding to?" Mercer glanced at the document, then at Elias's dark sweater and pressed trousers. "Identification. No one called about me." Mercer turned toward Cora. "Did he refuse payment?" "No." "Bother anyone?" "No." "Photograph the register? Ask about the back entrance?" "He ordered breakfast." Mercer looked back at Elias. The reason had changed. The demand had not. "License, now." The diner had gone quiet before Mercer reached the booth. Men who had been talking over biscuits lowered their eyes. A spoon touched a saucer and stayed there. Elias had entered June's counter as a traveler waiting for a vehicle repair. Mercer's arrival had turned everyone inside into a witness who already knew what witnessing might cost. "My vehicle is at the service center," Elias said. "I'll cooperate with a lawful request." "What is the basis for this one?" "Out-of-county vehicle, sitting alone, reading security material, refusing verification." "I asked for the incident." "You don't decide what qualifies as suspicious in Greyhaven County." Jonah looked toward the radio on his shoulder. He had not transmitted their location. No dispatcher had assigned the call because there had been no call. Elias also noticed the body camera on Mercer's shirt. No status light. Mercer placed both hands on the table. "We've had financial fraud moving through this county. People observing businesses, testing payment systems. I'm giving you an opportunity to clear this up." Cora stepped from behind the counter. "He didn't test anything. His card went through." "I have the receipt." Mercer turned his head. "That will be all, Cora." She stopped. Elias folded the brief and placed it beside his plate. Its cover referenced federal cybersecurity, enterprise evidence systems, and fraud detection analytics. It carried no visible agency seal. Mercer treated it as support for a suspicion he had already chosen. "What happens if I don't provide identification without legal grounds?" Elias asked. "Then we verify you at the station." A detention announced before a report existed. Elias looked at Jonah. "Has an incident number been opened?" Jonah's jaw moved, but no answer came. Mercer stepped closer. "Stand up. Am I under arrest?" "You are interfering with an investigation." "What investigation?" "Failure to comply. Suspicious conduct. We can sort the charge after processing." Each label arrived after Elias questioned the one before it. He rose slowly, announcing the movement first. His hands remained open. Mercer turned him toward the wall and pulled his wrist behind his back. The handcuffs closed with 2 metallic clicks, then tightened 1 notch further. Elias felt the edge bite into his skin. "Check the spacing." Mercer caught the chain. "You can discuss comfort at the station." Cora said Elias's name. She had read it from the payment screen. Mercer looked at her once. She lowered her voice but did not turn away. Outside, Mercer searched Elias beside the patrol vehicle and removed a leather wallet, an encrypted government phone, and a plain access card. He did not open the wallet. He did not photograph the property or issue a receipt. He dropped everything into a worn canvas bag. Jonah opened the rear door. Before Mercer pushed him inside, Elias spoke clearly toward the camera above the diner entrance. "My name is Elias Grant. I am being taken from June's counter by Sheriff Wade Mercer and Deputy Jonah Ellis. No incident number has been provided." Mercer closed the door. The patrol vehicle left without a radio call. Inside, Cora printed a duplicate receipt showing the exact time Elias had paid. On the back, she wrote both officers' names and the minute the vehicle left. She placed it beneath the sugar jar. Across town, the patrol vehicle entered the sheriff's sally port. A booking screen waited behind reinforced glass. "Incident number." Mercer pointed at the empty field. "Skip it." The booking clerk looked at the empty field. "Incident number?" Nora Vale sat behind reinforced glass with one hand resting on the keyboard. The patrol vehicle had entered through the sally port less than 2 minutes earlier, triggering the door sensor, but no corresponding arrest event appeared on her screen. Sheriff Wade Mercer dropped the canvas property bag onto the counter. "Temporary verification. That isn't a booking code." "Then don't book him yet." Elias sat on the metal bench with his wrists still cuffed behind him. The room smelled of disinfectant and overheated electronics. A camera watched the booking desk from the ceiling. Another covered the corridor leading to the holding cells. Mercer pointed toward Elias without looking at him. He stays there until I decide what applies. Nora's cursor remained inside the legal basis field. Blank. What time did custody begin? Mercer leaned closer to the glass. Are you working for me today or auditing me? Nora removed her hand from the keyboard. Jonah Ellis stood beside the property counter, holding the clipboard he had never filled out. He had opened the diner door, driven the patrol vehicle, watched Mercer take Elias's wallet and phone without sealing the bag. Now every missing step had arrived in the same room. A radio call interrupted them. A collision involving a commercial tanker had blocked the state highway north of town. Mercer cursed and turned toward Jonah. Stay here. Nobody processes him. Nobody calls anyone. He looked through the glass at Nora. Keep the record open. There is no record. Mercer held her gaze for a moment, then left through the side door. The room settled into fluorescent silence. Elias shifted his shoulders. The cuffs had left his hands numb. Deputy Ellis. Jonah looked at him. Am I under arrest? You heard the sheriff. I heard several different accusations. None entered into a system. Jonah glanced toward Nora. Elias continued. What is my booking number? No answer. What time did my detention begin? Jonah's eyes moved toward the Sallyport clock. What property was taken from me? The canvas bag sat on the counter without a seal, receipt, or inventory label. Elias did not raise his voice. Sheriff Mercer left the building. You are the officer responsible for my custody now. Jonah's face tightened. He'll be back. That does not answer the question. Nora lowered her eyes to the screen. She had seen temporary holds before. Men brought in through the rear door, left on benches, then released without paperwork once Mercer had decided they had learned enough. No arrest meant no complaint. No booking meant no detention. No record meant the county could later claim the person had never been there. Elias turned slightly toward Jonah. I am requesting a phone call. The sheriff said no. The sheriff also ordered you to hold a man without a charge, a custody time, or an incident number. Jonah looked at the camera above the desk. Elias followed his eyes. If that camera is recording, your next decision will be preserved. Jonah walked to the desk phone. He hesitated before lifting the receiver. One call. Because Elias's hands remained cuffed, Jonah entered the number as Elias recited it. He placed the phone on speaker and set it on the bench. The line rang once. A controlled voice answered. Federal Secure Operations Center. State authorization. Elias leaned forward. Authorization Grant Sierra 71. Director Elias Grant. Priority verification. Jonah stopped breathing for a moment. The voice on the line changed. Identity confirmed. Protective status active. Director Grant, state your condition and location. I am restrained inside the Greyhaven County Sheriff's Office. No booking number has been created. My government device and credentials have been seized without inventory. Nora looked at the blank custody screen. For the first time, the absence on her monitor no longer felt administrative. It felt deliberate. The secure operator opened a federal incident while Elias was still speaking. A timestamp appeared in a system Mercer could not reach. 2 counties away, Special Agent in Charge Thomas Keene received the alert. Elias's encrypted phone had already stopped transmitting from inside the sheriff's building. The secure call now confirmed why. Keene opened a dormant civil rights intelligence file on Greyhaven County. Missing body camera uploads. Cash seizures that did not match bank deposits. Residents describing hours inside the station without booking records. Complaints repeatedly returned to Mercer's own command. Separately, each entry had been explainable. Together with Elias's detention, they formed a structure. Keene contacted United States Attorney Simone Keller. At June's counter, Special Agent Leah Voss stood beneath the camera that had recorded the arrest. Cora placed the duplicate receipt on the counter. He paid before the sheriff touched him. She provided the footage, the officers' names, and the exact departure time. Leah copied the files under a documented chain of custody before the diner system could overwrite them. Back at the station, Mercer returned before the federal team arrived. He saw the phone beside Elias. His eyes moved to Jonah. You disobeyed me. He was entitled to a call. Mercer took the canvas bag and removed Elias's wallet. His thumb reached the edge, but Nora's monitor chimed. An external preservation notice had entered the system. Mercer stopped. What is that? Nora read the notice twice. No records may be altered. No detainee may be moved outside camera coverage. Administrative access is restricted. Mercer looked toward Elias, then toward the corridor. Move him to interview 3. Jonah knew the room. Its camera had been disconnected for months. He stepped in front of the corridor door. "There is no booking number." Mercer's voice dropped. "Move." Jonah did not. "I will not take him off camera." Mercer turned to Nora. "Delete the temporary session." Nora placed her hand on the keyboard. For years, she had left fields blank because Mercer preferred them blank. This time, she selected lock session. The system generated a custody timestamp from the moment the patrol vehicle entered the Sallyport. Mercer crossed the room and headed for the server door. He scanned his access card. The light turned red. Federal preservation hold access denied. Outside, several dark vehicles stopped without sirens. Leah Voss stepped out carrying a signed order. Sheriff Wade Mercer turned from the server door. 3 federal vehicles had stopped inside the outer gate without sirens. No weapons were raised. No one shouted. Special Agent Leah Voss entered the Sallyport carrying a signed preservation order inside a clear evidence sleeve. 2 state investigators followed her, along with counsel for the Greyhaven County Commission. Mercer moved toward the booking room. Leah stopped at the threshold. "Keep your weapon holstered. Place your access card on the counter. This is my facility." County counsel stepped forward. "Not while you are the subject of an active preservation order." Mercer looked past them toward Elias Grant. He refused identification. He interfered with an investigation. Leah placed Cora Bennett's duplicate receipt on the booking counter. Beside it, she set a still image from the diner camera. Elias sat with both hands visible. His paid breakfast remained on the table. Mercer stood above him with his body camera inactive. Then Leah placed a photograph of Nora Vale's booking screen beside it. Incident number blank. Legal basis blank. Custody time blank. Mercer's explanation remained standing alone. "Open the property bag," Leah said. Jonah Ellis brought the canvas bag to the counter. It had no seal number. Nora activated the booking camera and began a new inventory. The encrypted government phone came out first, followed by the plain access card and leather wallet. Leah opened the wallet beneath the camera. The federal credential was inside. At the same moment, a secure tablet confirmed Elias's identity, office, and protective status. Leah turned toward the bench. "Director Grant." Mercer's expression changed. The contempt disappeared first. Then the certainty. "I didn't know." Elias looked at the wallet. "Open the booking log." Nora entered the timestamp generated when the patrol vehicle crossed the Sallyport sensor. The system reconstructed the beginning of custody more than an hour earlier. For the first time, the detention existed in an official record. A medical officer removed Elias's handcuffs and photographed the deep marks around his wrists. Nora issued a complete receipt for every item Mercer had taken. Elias flexed his hands once. "I am the victim in this matter. All charging and investigative decisions go outside my chain of command." Mercer tried to speak again. County counsel interrupted him. "Your authority is suspended effective immediately." A state investigator collected Mercer's badge, service weapon, and administrative access card. He was escorted from the command area without spectacle. At the server room door, he attempted one final scan out of habit. The light stayed red. Access denied. The station changed quietly after that. Federal forensic teams copied dispatch records, Sallyport entries, body camera logs, property inventories, and financial databases. An automated comparison matched vehicle arrivals against booking numbers. The gaps appeared quickly. People had entered the building without appearing in custody records. Camera files vanished during shifts Mercer personally supervised. Cash listed on seizure forms did not match deposits into the county account. The system had not been empty. It had been edited to look empty. Jonah gave investigators the names of people taken into interview 3, where the camera had remained disconnected. He described orders he had followed and the moments he had chosen not to question them. His phone call had protected Elias. It did not erase the arrest he had helped carry out. Jonah was suspended, placed under administrative review, and accepted as a cooperating witness only after agreeing to provide complete testimony. Nora produced delayed booking entries and access histories reaching back several years. She also admitted how often she had left required fields blank because Mercer told her to. Her decision to lock Elias's session preserved the case. Her earlier silence remained part of it. United States Attorney Simone Keller took control of the prosecution. At trial, Mercer's claim that he had made an ordinary identification stop lasted less than a morning. The jury watched the diner footage. They saw Cora confirm that Elias had paid and caused no disturbance. They heard Mercer change his justification each time the previous one failed. They saw the inactive body camera, the unsealed property bag, the blank legal basis field, and the access log showing Mercer trying to enter the server room after the preservation order arrived. The prosecution did not need to describe him as a tyrant. His own missing records did it for them. The wider investigation uncovered false detentions, altered evidence, missing asset forfeiture funds, and businesses pressured into making unofficial security payments. Black motorists and visitors had been subjected to temporary holds at a rate far beyond comparable white residents. A federal jury convicted Mercer of deprivation of rights, unlawful detention, obstruction, evidence tampering, and financial misconduct. The judge imposed a lengthy federal prison sentence, ordered restitution, approved forfeiture of assets connected to the corruption scheme, and permanently barred Mercer from holding any law enforcement position. His state certification was revoked. His name was removed from every active command roster. His administrative credentials were disabled across the county network. The badge that had once opened every door in Greyhaven was sealed inside a federal evidence box. The consequences did not stop with him. Investigators reconstructed undocumented detentions from vehicle logs, camera timestamps, and employee access records. Unsupported charges were dismissed. Wrongfully seized money was returned. Convictions tied to altered evidence were sent for independent review. Every identified victim received a written notice explaining what had been found and how to request correction of the record. They were no longer required to prove that something had happened inside a building designed to say they had never entered it. Greyhaven County placed the sheriff's office under external oversight. The replacement booking system started the custody clock the moment a patrol vehicle entered the sally port. Holding cell doors remained locked until an incident number, legal basis, body camera link, and supervisor acknowledgement existed. Property required a barcode, photograph, and receipt. Complaint files against department leadership went directly to an outside review unit. No sheriff could delete evidence connected to his own conduct. Weeks later, Elias returned to June's counter alone. Cora placed coffee and breakfast before him. She did not apologize for the entire town. She placed a framed copy of the old receipt near the register, not as decoration, but as proof that a small piece of paper had kept a man from disappearing. When the doorbell rang, she looked toward it without lowering her eyes. At the sheriff's office, a deputy brought another detainee to booking and left the legal basis field empty. He pressed the release button. Nothing happened. The interior door remained locked until he returned to the terminal and completed the record. The old door had once responded to the sheriff's title. Now it responded only after the record existed. This story is fictional.